Reasons why I'm so frustrated is, for the last 5 years, I have been raising child protection in this House, and I have been stonewalled by ministers. When I table general questions, I'm told that those questions are too vague and they can't be answered. When I table detailed questions, they're told they're too specific, and as a result, individuals could be known as a result, and they're not answered. When TUSLA or Gardaí release information, it's often intentionally complicated and convoluted, so to make it impossible to decipher. And in some cases, TUSLA have given me documents and the Gardaí have given me documents, and both are completely contradictory to one another. And I've watched Minister James Brown ram through legislation through this House, which greatly reduces the penalty for criminal exploitation of children. And he was enabled in doing so by the opposition and backbenchers on the government who didn't bother showing up for the debate. Now, statistics released to AIN2 and releases of parliamentary questions have shown that nearly 200 children, either in state care or known to the state, have died in the past decade. 38 children died because they took their lives of this number. More died from drug overdoses. 11 of those deaths were murders. 5% of all the children who died in state care or known to state care were murdered. It's quite an incredible figure, you must agree, Minister. We know that the number of children who are being referred to TUSLA now on an annual basis is at 100,000. This is double that it was in 2018. And to put that in context, about 60,000 children are doing their leaving cert this year, and right now we are referring 100,000 children on an annual basis to TUSLA. Children in state care and those known to state care are being trafficked and sexually exploited in Ireland right now at a serious scale. In other countries, this would be a national scandal. The resources of those countries would be marshalled instantaneously to deal with the issue on a comprehensive basis, and there would be accountability. There would be resignations at the very top. So the ministers, when I brought up the issues of hypocrisy, some of the ministers in front of me had puzzled, quizzical faces. Well, I'll get to the specifics of this. Special emergency accommodation arrangements consist of unregulated accommodation in this state, mostly by third-party providers in rented accommodation. They are being used by TUSLA to accommodate children in state care. And we know from reports in the media that there are serious question marks in relation to the vetting of the people working in these areas and the providers of those special emergency arrangements. There is a shortage of foster placements coupled with a consistent underfunding of private and voluntary sector, which has made TUSLA more reliant on those dodgy companies to protect vulnerable children. Children in state care, particularly residential care, are being left hugely exposed, Minister. Child sexual exploitation is the biggest form of human trafficking in Ireland at the moment, and it's happening in real time amongst children that are supposed to be in the care of this state. In the past number of years, we've had a number of people trying to expose this. And because of the way that the courts work with in-camera rules in this country, it is virtually impossible to expose the fact that the government are letting down these children to such a level. But I'll give you an example where it was exposed. We had a courageous judge, Judge Sims. He raised his head above the parapet. He wrote a damning letter and gave 3 reports to Minister Roderick O'Gorman. Shockingly, the minister has confirmed to AIN2 that he shredded those reports on the basis of GDPR. 3 reports that outline the horrendous experience of children in state care in this country, written by a judge and given to a minister. He got permission to put the information into those reports by the people concerned, and he redacted those names. And the Minister for Children felt more responsibility to deal with GDPR rules than he did for the protection of those children. An absolutely damning indictment on the actions of this government. At least 70 unaccompanied minors have gone missing from TUSLA since 2017. And we have a situation just in the last year where a number of unaccompanied minors, some who had come to this country without parents or guardians, but known to TUSLA, have been left homeless in Dublin for weeks. TUSLA have been unable to tell me how many children each year are being physically or sexually abused in state care, saying the data requested is not centrally collated by TUSLA. TUSLA are not even collecting the information in relation to abuse that children may suffer in state care. They've also written to tell me that they do not maintain or register of referrals to Koru of allegations against staff members. Separately, the Department of Justice has told me that records of emails received by the email address blueblindfold@gardaí.ie, to which people can make reports of suspected human trafficking, are retained for no longer than 30 days. The emails are deleted after 30 days. This is extremely alarming information. TUSLA tell me as well that the number of children, TUSLA can't tell me also that about the number of children who have become pregnant while in state care, or the numbers who are referred for STIs testing in state care on an annual basis. And the government are trying to blame the lack of resources in relation to this, implying that it has also something got to do with the refugee crisis. This is not true. The problems run deeper and they stretch back for years. And Minister Roger Gorman, following a Dáil question on this topic, was unable to give me clarity on the number of children who go missing from state care. Not just unaccompanied minors, but each year the number of children that go missing. Imagine, the Minister for Children cannot tell this Dáil the number of children that go missing on an annual basis from state care. Where is the child protection instincts of the government in relation to this? You know, I've met with members of the voluntary sector, the foster care sector. They tell me about the significant investment that's needed. They tell me about the fact that they are unable to do their jobs because of the government's lack of investment. In the month of January alone, 22 children went missing from state care. Imagine, previously a 14-year-old girl was abducted by a criminal gang within minutes of being placed with TUSLA, and she was found in a brothel a year later. Now, I would really ask the government, on the day where they're trying to occupy the high moral ground here, at the day when they're politically sinking the knife into the opposition, I would ask them to look at themselves also. And I would ask them to look at the hundreds of people who are significantly damaged by the fact that this government will not act. And I tell you, this is happening to a group of children because they have no power. They are from poor backgrounds. They have nobody with wealth or influence to speak on their behalf. And that's why this issue is so much under the table and doesn't receive the priority of discussion in this chamber. And unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why it's not being fixed. And I would ask the government, if they're real about today, to be real about these children too. Gurb Magat.